This morning with the warm-up we were fourth. The gears are amazing, the new gears we've done, and then chased and sorted the splatter out. And was able to chase further what it is in the warm-up, and then in qualifying I got sixth, but we've improved the splatter, so the car's much better now. I need to
both are space frame cars. That's why they're in the A+ class. That is Michael Koenig that we see going out onto the circuit at the moment. He's placed in sixth. Told me quite an interesting story just about how he had to go over some niggles and get the car back into proper trim. Bit of a, I think it was a gearbox issue that he had to work out, some linkages, giving him a bit of a lot of work to do, not a bit of work, but he's very seasoned and very much capable of handling such hiccups. Coming out of the side as oh, and where we go, Anton Pizza. Perfect reflexes from him there. Thought he was still warming up his car and getting his engine warm, but warming up apparently as we go down into turn one. Keeping it clean in all cars on the circuit so far.
You want to talk about a bit of a weight difference here. Michael Koenig is closer to the weight to Chris Cornier's car. Being in the B class, the prototypes, the space frames, they're a lot more, well, they're a lot less as heavy. But now you've got Michael, who's a little bit lower, but at least Chris Cornier can see him, where if he gets a bit closer to Paul van Niekerk ahead of him, van Niekerk is going to make life a little bit more difficult in the pass. So van Niekerk, you can see, being a little bit higher up, the car is moving around a bit more, and also he's got a second seat in his car. That tells you it adds a bit of weight. But he's in the same class, well, same engine capacity as Chris Cornier, but now they're trying to maneuver around Sean, who's actually one of the newer drivers to the world of Silvercup 2.0. He's actually got Sean the Sheep on the side of his car. But this is going to be an interesting one. We have got a normal saloon car, a space frame, and a prototype or sports car going at it. Michael trying to get him under braking, but Chris Cornier is going to try and come back. He's got more traction around the outside thanks to the big slicks that he's got compared to Michael's semi-slicks.
Jacobs absolutely asserting his authority there. Looks like Cornier's lost out to Michael Koenig, having managed to secure that overtaking position. Let's see if Cornier is going to have another answer. Last time around, he had to defend around the outside, having more traction on the full slick tire there, but it looks like Michael Koenig has the beating so far of Cornier.
He's battling a little bit though. He's got a misfire in the low end, so every time he's hit by about 3,000, 4,000 RPM, he's not having the same as Fulun that's going and battling out. But back up to Michael Koenig and Chris Cornier. Now Michael needs to get onto the back of the car ahead of him and try and make up a bit of time. Giles is not going to make this easy for him, and we'll need to figure out how to get a little bit more of a jump. But that being said, you have got the likes of Chris Cornier, who's going to come back later towards the end of the race. As we've always seen, it seems like the pace comes right before the last 2 laps of the race, before anything.
Yep.
So battling, sliding his way through, not having an easy time out there. Michael really fighting at the steering and getting a little bit upset. There comes Chris Cornier, though. He's going to have the power to try and go back at him. And looks up on the inside. Michael's running out a little bit wide. Can he get the gearing to work in his favor? Looking over his shoulder, just trying to see where Chris Cornier is as he comes across the line. Chris Cornier in the tow, but the slipstream is not having a major effect on him because, unfortunately, Michael's a lot lower than his car. So this is not going to have an easy time. But for Michael, this is filling up his mirrors. He's worrying about a car right onto the back of him, and he needs to forget about it. He needs to try and figure out how can he get away from Chris Cornier, because Chris is going to try everything he can at this point. And Michael is forever looking in the mirrors and unfortunately losing a bit of drive. Chris Cornier looks to the inside, but just losing out. Having a little bit of a lighter car, making a difference. That Nash is going and pushing as hard as it can to Chris Cornier's space frame, a B-class car.
And I can imagine Cornier already aware, of course, of the fact that that narrow window for him to get that position back is closing as to go down the inside of Koenig. Let's see if he's able to make it stick. But down the straight, Koenig looking to his rear, to his rear view mirror there on the right-hand side, rather. seeing just how much space he has and how much defending he has to do against Crenier, and he managed to get the beating of him going into turn 1. But it's a narrow window because we've 9 laps gone. We're literally on the last lap of the race remaining. And I think that's where the pressure is coming from for Crenier in this, what is turning out to be the battle of the race for race 1 of the Silvercup 2.0 class. It is the final lap, and we'll see where Crenier is going to choose to make his move. But of course, we have Marius Jacobs still dominating out at the front. Interestingly enough, making similar lap times, not too. And Paul van Niekerk about to cross in 5th place. Fantastic. And a photo finish, well, as close as possible to a photo finish between Crenier and Koenig, but Michael Koenig.
So, first race, I missed the startup, my fault, and then had to race back. I finished 6th again, started 6th, finished 6th, which isn't bad, but we had a good day. So, Chris in the Tata space frame was proper close, really nice. So, I think we're at 20 minutes now, and then we're out again.
Obviously, we want to be safe as well, but you know, the guys are pushing and we're pushing hard as well. I mean,
Quick it's going to be for race 2. Lights on, lights off, and away they go. Immediately, Jacobs on the throttle. Lot quicker than last time, but even quicker than race 1 is Anton Bitter. Fantastic start. Nose to nose with Marius Jacobs down into turn 1, but Jacobs is the later of the breakers. Something Chris Crenier was talking about, being the latest of the breakers is going to make all the difference this time around, and Marius Jacobs definitely is the man for the job. Immediately pulling away, he's got 2 car lengths so far. Bitter's going to have to do some defending off of that number 91 car on his right shoulder.
The 4 hours of RedStar is about to begin, and away we go in turn 1. Late on the brakes, Bradley making an absolutely great run. Mike McLaughlin trying to chase him down in the carbon car, and then you've got BDR Racing going and battling it out with our Lamborghini. So Porsche 992 battling it out with the Lamborghini, something we see.
Look at that, Mike Koenig, as ever, in the mix. It was him versus Chris Crenier for the most part of the day, the first 2 races. But this time around, he's got a little bit of different shaped competition. Let's see how he handles that.
Marius Duplessis going and taking at the moment. But this is the start of the race, and you have got Marius going and getting an early jump. And unfortunately, Anton Blitzer not getting the same drive as he had in Heat 2. And that allowed Duplessis to get right behind him and start hunting for a gap, while Marius was trying to open up the distance early on and get away from the rest of the field. He sees a battle going on, and Marius having looking to make his way through. But bringing it back to live racing, Michael Koenig ahead of Giles Darroch. And these two have been giving each other stick. Giles, every single time he's gone to the racetrack, has said happy birthday to Michael Koenig. So every day has been a celebration for Michael Koenig. Rotary 2-litre and a modified 2-litre going blow for one another. This is going to be a monumental fight. Giles does not want to back down from Michael Koenig. These two have even gone so far to lay the grounds of an ice cream bet on who gets on top of one another. And Giles said he's not going home without an ice cream. And he is definitely going to make sure that Michael's taking the bill on this one. Anton Bitzer, though, not winning through the corners, has to now deal with these two fighting left and right for the remaining lap of the race. And checkered flag comes out. Anton getting a third place, Michael Koenig in fourth, and